Hello, beautiful warriors. I am so freaking excited to pop in here tonight and share a part of my healing from trauma story with you. I created Rising Warrior Collective because I wanted to have a space in the world to show up and share my trauma story. I feel so deeply passionate about creating space for those of us who have experienced trauma in childhood to come together and feel not alone in our stories and our journey and our experiences, because as trauma survivors, we have spent so much of our lives sort of hiding and playing small and being really ashamed of what we've been through. And I want to show up in this world and shed light on our experiences and be a beacon of hope that we can heal from our trauma. And the way I'm doing that is by showing up raw and vulnerably and sharing my stories of what I experienced in my childhood, how my trauma has impacted me as an adult, and also sharing my story of inspiration of how I've begun to heal my trauma and how I'm starting to show up differently in the world, and sharing the hopefulness that as we heal, we have an opportunity to reinvent ourselves and create lives for ourselves that we never thought was possible. And that is why I am so excited to share with you this part of my story tonight. If you've been following me in Rising Warrior Collective for any amount of time, you may have noticed in the last few days that my name changed from Tracy Jenkins to Morgan Wilde. This is a huge step in my journey for me. I have wanted to change my name for the last 15 to 18 years. A little bit of my backstory is both of my parents were addicts, alcoholics, a lot of dysfunction, a lot of unhealed family trauma that neither of my parents understood or recognized that they had, or recognized that they were passing on to me. And I was brought into this world as Tracy Morgan, my dad's last name. And when my parents split up when I was very young, I was sort of passed back and forth between my parents multiple times growing up. And with each transfer from parent to parent, they also changed my name. So I went from Tracy Morgan to Tracy Jenkins multiple times in my childhood and young adulthood. I eventually landed with Tracy Jenkins, my mom's last name, when I was a young adult, and I carried that into my adult life. And with it has come a tremendous amount of shame and unease. I quite literally struggled in being my own person and healing just having my mom's last name and my mom's side of the family's last name. It carried a lot of pain with it, and it really impeded my ability. It has impeded my ability to fully heal. Because as far, I can go so far, and I can feel like I'm really creating this momentum and I'm moving forward. And then I can look in the mirror and I see my mom, I see my family, I see the dysfunction, I see the narcissistic abuse. I still feel myself attached to my family no matter how far I go and no matter how long I have been no contact with them. My name keeps me grounded in the dysfunction. So I've wanted for a long time to change my name and really transition fully out of my family. And I've chosen to do that this year. So I've spent the last year sort of marinating on it and creating the quiet space for me to figure out what I wanted to go forward, who I wanted to go forward as. And I recognized that it was really important for me to maintain a sense of my dad and my dad's side of the family, because as a child, I mean, my whole life I was really close with my dad. He had a lot of dysfunction. He was a Vietnam vet, so he had a lot of PTSD, and we struggled a lot. But at the core of our relationship, he loved me deeply. And I believe to this day that I owe a lot of my ability to heal and move forward through my trauma because of my dad's love for me. And it was important for me to value that and hold on to that part of my story. So I chose, in honor of my dad, to choose my first name as Morgan. And it feels so beautiful to me. It feels like such a gift to be able to carry on that part of my story and honor my dad in this beautiful way. And with my last name, I got to play a little bit more. I got to just dream up and really get quiet and meditate on, what do I want to be? What do I want to represent with my name? What is this for me? What does this look like? And the name Wilde just kept coming back over and over again. And the first time that name came up as an option for me, it was just an instant, yes, full body. This is what I want to embody and represent to my community and in my growth around healing from trauma. Is for me, part of my story is that I am a full-time nomad. I live full-time in my van, traveling around the Pacific Northwest in California. And I feel like a very free-spirited Sagittarius to the core. And a lot of that free-spiritedness for me got overpowered in childhood. It was sort of followed by this dark cloud. And I had a really hard time embodying the full sense of who I was underneath all the trauma. So the last name Wilde allows me to really step into more an alignment of who I feel like. So I am just really excited to share with my community as I transition from a past version of me, one that was steeped in trauma and was still really struggling to step into the next stage of my power, and now introducing myself to the world and my community as Morgan Wilde going forward. And I also hope that through this story and through sharing my story, that even if this lands and resonates with one other trauma survivor out there who is struggling with the same story, feeling a lot of shame around their name, the name that was given to them through their family, feeling like that's still keeping them connected to the trauma and the dysfunction that they grew up in. I hope that my story can empower you and inspire you to potentially do the same thing, reinvent yourself, decide who you want to be. That would make my whole story, sharing my whole story, worth it if it just resonates with one person. So thank you for listening to me. Thank you for being here in my community and sharing this space with me. Please, if you feel called to continue having, conversation with me around this, feel free to ask me questions. Feel free to ask me what this journey has been like. If there's anything I can do to support you, please do not hesitate to reach out. I am so passionate about supporting other trauma survivors on their journey. And if there's anything I can do to do that and to support you in your story and your journey, please do not hesitate to reach out and continue this conversation with me. So going forward, I get to step into the world as this next powerful version of myself. And I'm so excited, and I'm really excited that you're all here with me. So thank you for listening. Thank you for giving me the space and opportunity to share my story. And I hope it resonates with you. And I'm looking forward to continue sharing inspiration and pieces of my story and vulnerabilities that hopefully help us all grow together. Okay, I hope everybody's having a great night, and we will all talk soon.